The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
And then so when you've gone to record the second record, In Bed with Bias, that's the one that's got the juicy flip on it.
Yeah, but that's not the original version, that's the remix version. Right. So the actual juicy instrumental is on the 12-inch. That's the only place you could get it. I did have it up on iTunes, but I took it down because I thought I'm probably going to get in trouble for this because it's just a straight jack beat. So then I gave it to Jase, who did the remix of it.
Okay, so then when you recorded the original version, at what point in time was that?
2001, that was the Hip Hop Live 12. And it was a track 1 in a Million on the other side, I think, and Hursty in an instrumental.
So that track wasn't originally for In Bed with Bias?
In Bed with Bias, no, that was before it.
So you didn't plan to put that on that album?
No.
So you just put that out as a
Yeah, I
single?
liked the remix Jase did and just, we'll just throw this out on the CD when In Bed with Bias came along.
Yeah, okay, so that came out between the first and second album.
Yeah, before that it was kind of a joke track just on the end of this 12. I just, I'd written it, just said that I always did covers of things, so I'll just release it. And some people went, oh, that's whack, what did he do that for? But I was just having fun, I didn't care.
So when you put it out, did you think that you would get dissed for it? Because, doing hip-hop covers is not really the thing to do.
Yeah, but I guess I was at a point I didn't care. I stopped really caring what people think, and I always want to do something different. Like I bought out the VHS. It's one of the first guys in Australia to bring out his own video cassette. Or I'd always try and do something people hadn't done before, just to sort of be the first to do it. So that's sort of where that came.
And then so why the juicy flip?
I just don't know. I just probably put the song on one day. It was when I was living in Paran. I remember I rode in a flat that was up there, just a one-bedroom flat, and just don't know. I think the first words just came into my head. It was all a dream and Hype magazine, and that was it. Just sat there over a couple of days and wrote it and was done.
So then a couple of years later is when you've dropped In Bed with Bias, and that's the one that's got the remix on it. So all the production on that record is...
Oh, it's a mix on In Bed with Bias.
Yeah.
It's got Lazy, Jase did some beats on it, Optimus. Maybe Disaster, I can't think off the top of my head. I think I was working with them at the time. Checkmate might have had a beat on there.
And then so because this was like your second time round and you didn't have some deadline that you had to stick to, did that make the process a little bit easier?
Yeah, so I liked it. He's a real nice bloke that I recorded with. You go hang in the studio with him, very professional. And it was a nice studio. It was very calming and it was really easy to knock that one out. It was very different.
And was that record on Obese?
That was distributed by Obese. Yeah. Because at the point, like people used to say, I need a record label, this and that. And I was like, why don't you just do it yourself? Just call the shops, just release the shit yourself, pay for it yourself and do it. I didn't understand why people would want to go to labels. But then as time went on, I didn't want to have to make all these calls anymore. Ring shops and people were like, no, I don't have the money, call back next month. Or, you start disliking people just because they don't have the money at the time, which isn't really their fault. Maybe business isn't going well. So it was easier, by the time Been There Done That came out, to sign it to Obese. And I just get my $10 a CD from one place. I'm like, don't have to contact anyone, don't have to chase anything. But when the Bed with Bias time, that was when Pegs had just taken over when it went from Obese to Obese, and they were on the whole distro thing, and they were doing real good work there.
And then I guess on that note, being that Obese was like one of the biggest, if not the biggest labels ever for Aussie hip hop, what do you remember about that time, like when Pegs was running it and it was all happening?
I just remember being amazed by just how it was blowing up, I think, and just how much radio we're getting behind it. He had a real good business head on him, Pegs. He was very, I remember thinking, because I was working in the office at one point as well, it was amazing to me that things were so successful and the hoods were doing so well and he was making good money off that, but he was still at work every day. He was still there at 9 o'clock, he'd still leave at the end. I would have been at home, sleep is running itself, I just let everyone do it. But his work ethic was, you have to respect him for that. He was really on top of it. And he really had a drive for what he wanted to do and he had the vision. So I think that made a big difference at that time for everything blowing up.
The lesson.
Oh, yeah.